You're this perp back with another video, and I just got around to watching episode 6 of Swamp Thing season 1. Um, hit that like button, hit that sub button if you're new, and follow me on Twitter at perpminded. And we're gonna get right into this review. I got a lot more videos coming in the next few days, so stay tuned for those videos coming in the future. So this episode pretty much starts with these guys, these two characters, random characters, are hunting down Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing's not having that, and we see more of his unique powers. Like, he uses the trees as like some type of like projectile, or it was really cool to see all his unique abilities, and they thought that they had him, but he was able to run them off. Meanwhile, Woodruff, whatever, he's up to no good. He injects something into this IV, some blue stuff that is connected to Daniel. Daniel's fucked up in the hospital, is pretty much in a coma at this point, and Abby and Liz are trying to figure out what's going on, and Liz tells him that Avery has something to do with this, or because Avery sent people to go hurt Liz and whatnot. So Abby confronts Avery at the hospital, and they kind of have this really interesting back and forth, because Avery's already been at the hospital already because of Maria and whatnot, and making sure she's cool. But they have this back and forth, and Abby is not letting up, and Avery sits there and threatens her, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out by the end of the season. But we get a little bit more backstory on Daniel and his past, because he's kind of still in his coma. So we're getting kind of this flashback of when he sold his soul, pretty much. It kind of seemed like it was unwillingly, or unknowing, I should say. But then we get this scene with the sheriff and Matt talking, and come to find out that Matt had something to do with Alex's boat exploding, and she was trying to cover that up, and it's crazy that I was not expecting this from Matt, and this is pretty much a pretty good twist, I would say, because I was not expecting really Matt to be involved with any of this. Going to be very interesting what else he knows, and what the sheriff has done in the past. I really want to know that, because it's sort of like that Avery's kind of using her as leverage. But back at the hospital, Daniel wakes up and he's like burning up, kind of, and we get a little tease of the Blue Devil, but he managed to escape the hospital, and Woodruff is pretty much like getting his rocks off with that. He's really excited, but I'll get back to that very shortly. But back into the swamp, Abby is looking for Alec, because there's a search team looking for him, and she's trying to give him a heads up. And I'll get back to this very shortly. So we got Woodruff going to Avery's house to let him know what he did to Daniel, and how he used him as his own little experiment. Even Avery looks at him kind of crazy, but he's like, "You're gonna have to deal with this. This is your problem." Meanwhile, back at the swamp, Matt is with somebody else. They're just looking for the people that got attacked in the woods, and he comes across Swamp Thing, and now he's really shocked to see that Abby this whole time has known about Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing kind of knows something about him, but not fully. He just knows that he was there the day his boat exploded. He doesn't know that he was the person that did it, but it's very interesting stuff. Meanwhile, things are kind of hectic at Woodrow's house with his wife, and he's getting too caught up in his work, and his wife just wants to leave the town, but he knows he can't. So he gets a surprise visit later on with from Daniel, and you see kind of a glimpse. It kind of looks kind of weird here, but you kind of see a glimpse of him turning into the Blue Devil. But Abby is way too trustworthy. She's telling him all this information, and right off the bat, I was like, I don't trust him, because you just found out. Because for the viewers, we just found out that he had something to do with Alex's death, pretty much, or his explosion. And what does he do? He goes right to his mom and tells her, "Oh, we need to talk." So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to really talk about. Meanwhile, Daniel gets back into the hospital. This Madame Sal, I forget her name, but she ends up doing something to, Daniel, to calm down this power from unleashing or whatever. But it pretty much ends off with, Alec or Swamp Thing and Abby talking. And it seems like Swamp Thing's trying to piece more things together, but while he's piecing things together, something weird ends up happening where this flower thing grows out of his palm, and all of a sudden you see Alec as a Swamp Thing as Alec as a human. And I thought that was a really cool ending. What you guys think in the comments below, let me know. I'll see y'all next week for episode 7. To the next video, I'm out. Peace.
When I was young, I thought that success was all I needed. That's what was gonna bring the happiness. Buying my mom a house, being the fame, the accolades, having people say, "Yo, you are the best in the game." I thought those would be the things that would bring happiness. And then when those things came, the happiness wasn't there. And I realized why that was. There was such an attempt to achieve these things and to keep going that you lose sight of the people and the blessings that you have around.